Hey guys, here for another episode of Trainer Confidential. I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. Holiday season this weekend, and we still got New Year's coming up. And yeah, so it's been a good year. Hopefully the next year is good for everybody. But anyway, so this is the video that we talked about 2 videos ago. It was a post by an article by Washington Post, and I think it came out December 8th. I think it came out, and it was called "Dying to Win." And it was geared towards bodybuilding
Was it dying to win or dying to compete? Something like that. I think it was dying to
yeah, I
compete.
think it was dying to compete, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But it was geared towards competitive bodybuilders. It was definitely one-sided. The whole thing was everything that they said on there was facts. But it definitely, the journalist wasn't a bodybuilder. You can tell that. So anyway, we're going to kind of talk about that and what we think about that. I know Donnie has a lot of feelings about that, and he being a trainer for how long? You been a trainer for?
I've been a trainer for 30 years, and
30 years. Yeah.
I've been training for like a little over 50 years, and
Yeah.
bodybuilding, whether it's just been my lifestyle or whether it's been competing and stuff, So yeah,
Yeah.
I've been doing
So
that since the 70s. So
I
yeah.
mean, you got a lot to say about that, and so anyway, I mean, we're doing this video. Donnie just put a sour taste in his mouth, so we need to talk about it. And that's just how it is. So to start off, basically the video, I don't remember all the names of the competitors, but they were naming off several competitors that had died. And there has been a lot of bodybuilders that have been dying in the last couple of years, especially the last year. But basically, the moral of the story, it was talking about dying to win, that, people are overdoing things, drug use and stuff to win. And a lot of them, believe it or not, aren't even professional bodybuilders. They're amateur bodybuilders, and you don't get paid for that. Even as a professional bodybuilder, I know we've had videos about it, but if you're a professional bodybuilder, unless you're top 5 in the Olympia, you don't get paid much money. It's not something you make a living on. This is just a passion. You make a living on everything that comes off of it, like the social media and the sponsorships, and even the sponsorships have went down. From years ago, you get a sponsorship before you're even pro, but now to get sponsored, it's hard to do. So unless you got a big social media following, you're not going to make a lot of money off of bodybuilding. So basically these a lot of people are overdoing the drugs, and they're dying from it. So what I'm going to let you start on this, Donnie. Tell me what you think about it, and uh uh yeah, sum it up for us.
As I was reading the article and stuff, and like I said, and just reiterating some things, the stuff that this person was talking about was factual. These are things that actually happened. He talked about individual bodybuilders and how a lot of them, were they succumb at the show, over dehydration, the whole 9 yards, and some amateurs, some pros, but the underlining thing, it'd been one thing for me anyway, because I've seen both sides of this. I know there's a dark side to this, and I'm not going to deny that or anything like that. But this person did it in such a way to where it was just really one-sided. If a lay person didn't know any better, they would think that this was all there was to bodybuilding. Just,
Yeah.
physique radicals and stuff that taking things overboard, and they do everything, or they train overboard, they eat overboard, they take drugs overboard, the whole 9 yards and stuff. And so, and that was the deal. It was like, okay, so I mean, if you're going to do that, you can just label, hey, look, but this is, but here are some of the here's some of the benefits, and this is something that I can bring across, because I've been a trainer, for 30 years, and I've seen people, literally transform their lives, actually living this type of lifestyle. Training 3 to 5 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week. We're talking about gym pods primarily and stuff, and seeing the clothes change, seeing their bodies change, and seeing the confidence and all the positives. And I know they're focusing on competitive bodybuilding and stuff, but I mean, if a layperson didn't know any better, they would have thought that was all there was to bodybuilding,
Yeah.
And I to me, that just, I kind of left a little sour taste in my mouth and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and if some parents watch that and their 15-year-old son was lifting weights and was into bodybuilding, how's that going to look for that? How's that going to look for them? And that kid, because those parents are going to look at it and they're going to be scared, just like I would. I'm a parent. I would be scared if I didn't know any better. And so it's kind of, it could literally push people away from bodybuilding itself, because, oh, well, if you do that, you're just like the crackhead on the corner, smoke pot and then you're smoking crack and doing heroin right after that. It's not like that. There is an extreme and there's a dark side, just like everything in life. And that's just a fact. I think a lot of the medical issues with bodybuilding comes with in prep, and a lot of it has to do with diuretics. They're overdoing diuretics. I mean, you take the Olympia, for example, what the prejudging was at 10 o'clock, and then 1 o'clock in the morning, I think they did finals, called out finals. So that's 2 days that those guys are in diarrhea, I mean, it is dangerous. It's dangerous.
Yeah, that's pretty much my rule of thumb is, and first of all, not everybody needs them.
No.
Some people are just naturally dry and everything and stuff, but some people, they're just water buffaloes. I mean, and you can do. I've done natural ways of doing it, and I've done the other ways of doing it. And I tend to. I've fared better when I was actually using them.
Yeah.
Because even though I get dry, I still on stage. Once I get on stage, my wife, she tells me, you still look a little filmy, just a little bit. In this sport, just a little bit of filming, that's enough to change. That can change you 2-3 places, and so so I tend to. But my rule of thumb is, first of all, should be in a position where you need to lose as little as possible, and then they don't stay in that diurese as short as possible. I tend to say the day of the show and that's it. I'm in hard diurese right around about maybe 6 in the morning, but by 8:30, 9 o'clock, when my class is already done and I've collected whatever or haven't collected anything, then I'm already rehydrating. I'm starting that rehydrating process and stuff.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is with the rehydrating, just not just plain water, because your electrolytes are already out of balance. And if you're just putting in water and stuff, you're going to be even more out of balance, and you just blow up like a balloon and stuff, and so you want to bring in the electrolytes. Like I tend to do noons, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they were great.
And I'll have 3 or 4 drinks of those, and I'm just sipping on them, not chugging it down. I'm just just sipping on it and stuff. And I'll go through those 4 or 5 bottles in a period of maybe like 4, 5, 6 hours. And just slowly just rehydrating and stuff, and so, you're going to have, and one of the things I found out with some of these incidents that they were in diurese for a long period of time. The longer you're in that, the greater the chances of something happening. It just is what it is. And so you just want to try to stay in that little area as little as possible and stuff. And the thing about it is, as far as like, roids go, I mean, I've been doing for what? Probably since really started probably in my early 30s, but prior to that, I was pretty much natural. I mean, I competed most of my 20s. I was just natural. I was in the military at the time, and you couldn't take it anyway. But one of the things is, a lot of these gifted bodybuilders and stuff, they take a lot less than people realize. I mean, you get some people they're your shock jocks and they brag about how much they take and stuff. I've never really taken like extreme amounts. I would say for a short period of time I was like that and stuff, but being younger and stuff, but now, like I said, I'm just, it's primarily the diet and the training, and actually the drugs and stuff that's on the peripheral.
Yeah.
You know, nothing replaces the training and the diet and the cardio and stuff. You know, there was a period of time to where, you know, I leaned more on, you know, the drugs than I did, you know, everything else and stuff, you know. But, you know, once I settled it and said, and you end up not doing as well as you need to do, you know. And so, you know, if you really focus on the training and the diet and stuff, you know, and the cardio and to make everything else a periphery, you're not, a lot of these guys are not using nearly as much as people think they are.
Yeah.
You know?
And you said it right too. I mean, you got to let your body get to, you know, your full, you know, your full capacity as far as muscle growth and all that. Your diet needs to be in check. You know, you have to live that lifestyle for a period of time before you even think about adding drugs in the mix. And you know, after 30 years old for a male anyway, your testosterone starts going down. So after 30 is, you know, you can add stuff like that in there. In your 20s, no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got more testosterone in your 20s than, you know, I do now,
Mm-hmm.
or you, or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you're I mean, you're on steroids at that point.
Yeah, because like right now,
Naturally.
I mean, I'm gonna be 63 and stuff, and I don't even use anti-aromatics, you know. I don't use anti-aromatics anymore. You know, I don't use the Novodex or anything like that. You know, Arimidex primarily. You know, and so because I'm 63,
Yeah.
I mean, my testosterone, you know, would be pretty low. Even when
Yeah.
even with me training, my testosterone is going to be, you know, fairly low because of the mere fact that I'm 63 years old, you know, and so, you know, I you know, take just modest amounts, you know, not, you know, and I think of it in terms of TRT for the most part,
Yes.
but it's only like when I get close to prep time, you know, about 5 weeks into prep, then I'll switch it from TRT to PED, you know,
Yeah.
and then when I'm done, then I'll just take it back down to TRT and I just continue to go that way. I have blood work done twice. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to have blood work done again here in about another couple of weeks. Because I probably won't be competing until when is that? When is that Worlds again? They moved it to August or something like that.
I thought you said June.
No. They moved it to August.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't
they
know they
moved it to
moved it.
August. And so yeah, I was going to do a show. I'm thinking about doing the show that's in era is in California, next it's about south of Palm Springs.
Mhm.
But they got the NPC version, but they don't have the IFBB version. I was going to do the 50 and 0. They're not going to have a
Oh,
60. I'm going to do a 50 division, you know.
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And so if I get the thumbs up on that because it's on the IFBB's roster that it's one of the shows, but they don't have it on the actual site, you
Mhm.
know, then I will. I don't start prep until like April anyway. So
You're going to kill it in 50s anyway. You already know
we'll,
that. You already know
we'll
that.
see. We'll see.
But
But
back to the
yeah,
subject at hand. You know, my thought on that is, you know, human instinct is more is better. Everybody, I'm not like that. I'm worried about my health. I have a son and a wife, and
yeah, especially for a lot of us. I mean, you
yeah.
know, we're a certain breed. I mean, it takes a certain ilk to be
Well, and the thing
competitive.
is, you know, you got all these 20-year-old kids, you know, following all these bodybuilders on TV and stuff like that, and they want to look like that tomorrow. They want, you know, they want that look tomorrow. So how do they get there? Oh, well, it just means I got to take more drugs. They're like that because they take a large sum of drugs, and just like you said, no, it's not. They're probably taking, as a matter of fact, they're probably healthier than most amateur bodybuilders. What they have is they have progenetics.
Yeah,
And you
yeah. I
know,
mean, it's great. You know, I've seen some people take very little and stuff, and they look fantastic. And I've seen people take a lot and they break out and their hair falls out. You know, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's the craziest thing. You know, and it is it's one of the genetic factors that you have to factor in is, you know, not only just your structure and your and your muscularity and all this other stuff, but how well you conform to some of these compounds.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
are you
and
one of
that
those
just
people
goes
that
down the line. You have to feel your body out and reach your maximum potential first. You know, you have to you have a long time to get your diet, your training in check, and live that lifestyle. It's not something you go to the gym and you want to look like, Nick Walker, and now, oh, next week you're slamming a gram of test a week. It
Well,
doesn't work that way,
well,
you know.
but when I started, I mean, when you looked at pros back then, and you'd ask them, well, how long you been training? You didn't get anything under 15 years.
Yeah, yeah,
15,
yeah,
20. It would take, a while just to get your pro card. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And like I said, things now is there's not a lot of figuring out to do, because if you got the genetic, if you got the genetic goods, and you get in touch with a coach, fairly decent coach. Yeah, I mean, you can end up being a pro, but not knowing no hair about the craft that you're doing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because
I'm
you just
glad you brought that up, because that
and
is
that's fine. That's fine, but and that's the age that we're in right now.
yeah.
So I can kind of understand how that phenomenon is happening.
Mm-hmm. And as far as coaches go, I don't remember the names, and I don't want to say the names, but there's some popular coaches out there that they want to win too, and they go to the extreme on their clients, you know, uh, pumping them up full of stuff. I mean, the dangerous things is the diuretics. The T3 is another one. The thyroid medicine that people use for cutting.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it is you mix that with, but anyway, that can cause some serious problems. Insulin use, in bodybuilding, that can also cause a serious amount of problems.
Yeah, yeah.
As far as the testosterone, you're really going to get is side effects. The orals are a little different because you got your kidneys and your
Or
liver.
your liver primarily.
Yeah, and if that person, you
And
can't
that's
drink
certain
alcohol
orals.
either.
That's certain orals. That's not all
Certain
of them, but
orals,
it's a
yes,
certain
you're
oral.
right. You're right. But I mean, in moderation, there's nothing wrong with it. You're getting blood work done, and you're doing everything you're supposed to. You're going to live a long, full life. You're going to be healthy, have no problems. But it just boils back to, and the standards of bodybuilding nowadays in competition and on stage they're pretty high. I mean, they want to see dry, they want to see
It's
big, they want to see
yeah, it's
condition.
it's not so much the size, gaining the size and stuff. It's the conditioning.
Conditioning, yeah.
And that's where you kind of get on a slippery slope and stuff. I remember an article that I read back in the 1970s. I think it was like 78. It's Iron Man's magazine in 78. And that's one of the things that they were talking about. They were having this big debate back then on what is considered an ideal degree of conditioning. There were flags that were going up to where they were saying, bodybuilders are starting to get in greater and greater conditioning, and this may not be a good thing, and this is why. I can't remember but the article was somewhat like that. I remember that there was this big debate on how conditioned these athletes need to be in. I was a teenager when I was reading that and stuff, So but it's the conditioning that don't get me. I mean, to put on the size, you gotta lift the poundage. You're gonna really send your body through some stuff. But it's getting that conditioning. That's where things get a little bit rough. That's when you're feeling really depleted, the whole 9 yards. You don't get depleted. You're not depleted trying to put on mass because you're in a calorie surplus. You know what I mean? Whereas when you're trying to get in that conditioning, for the most part, you're in a calorie deficit. And so I mean, the immune system's down. You're just not in a very healthy state.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then you go from that, and then you go from overeating in your bulk stage. I mean, bodybuilding itself, even if you take away the drugs, is it's an extreme sport. Because you're putting your body through hell. When it comes down to it. But what is too much?
And have no problem doing it. I have no problem doing
neither do I. I love it. I love it.
That's
I don't. I don't care if I get paid, that's awesome. But you know, it's because I love it. And the reason I love it is because I can do it.
Yeah.
And not everybody can. It's one thing in my life that I'm good at, you know.
Yeah. You know,
Uh,
it's like, you know, we look at people, you know, that strap onto a 2,000-pound bull and have to ride them for,
yeah,
you know, 6 seconds. I mean, you know, at that, you know, that's a little extreme. I like watching it. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
you know, would I do it? No, I don't think
yeah,
so.
or
You know,
jumping out of an airplane or what.
yeah. So they're you know, it's bodybuilding's no different than any of that stuff. You know, so
What do you
but
think could be done? Do you think it could be changed as far as the deaths and you know and when we're talking about death, it's not like a guy's dying every day. This is not what's going on. I mean, it's you read the article, you're gonna walk away from the article going, oh man, it's an epidemic. Well, it's really not. They just took some cases out of there, and they were all fact. They were all everything that the person said was facts. But there's a good side to it too. I mean, for one, I mean, I've talked about my history, but I mean, I was a junkie for for 10 years. You know, went to prison. I mean, I've spent probably a quarter of my life locked up behind bars.
I agree.
Bodybuilding got me out of
I
that.
agree with another one. You
Yeah,
know,
I mean, it got me out of that, and it's keeping me out of it. I love it. This is my replacement, and it's healthy. It makes me feel great. My confidence is there, which I didn't have before. I can keep on talking forever about the pluses for me.
yeah. I mean, you know, if you take let's just take away the competitive aspect of it and just think of it, you know, as a lifestyle. You can't get you know, you can't get any better than that. You know
No,
what I mean?
no, you
You
can't.
know, especially with the weight training. I mean, weight training and old fashioned weight training is still the gold standard.
It is.
You've got CrossFit and all the other stuff going on, all this functional stuff, but still, this is the gold standard here. Still,
It
you know,
is. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And so,
So, do you think there's anything that I mean, what if they drug tested in the IFB?
oh, they
Uh,
did that before, and it's you know, this takes me back to baseball. Remember when they were having that home run off? You know, with I can't, what was the name? It was between one was with the St. Louis Cardinals. I can't remember what his name was, and you had another one. He was I can't remember what team. I think it was from Chicago, and they were having a home run hit off. And the thing about it is they were just hitting these home runs, and people, you know, were you know in super they were in department stores and the big screens would have you one or the other one they're batting and stuff, you know, and everybody's all gathered around that stuff. Well, those guys, man, they weren't taking roids, but they were taking I can't remember what the name of that supplement was. There was a supplement that was being taken and they were taking and stuff, you know, and I guess they got burned for it and stuff initially, you know, but that was, you know, it just draws when you get performances like that, it draws crowds. And when it draws
yeah,
crowds, you make money.
that's
You know,
what people want to see.
you got to understand the business aspect of it too.
Yeah,
You know, the thing about it is this, yeah, you want to do things for the athletes and stuff. That's fine and dandy and stuff, but you know, how's that going to affect, you know, their bottom line?
yeah.
One of the things I'd like to know is how much money this industry is actually making the folks that
Uh,
are making the money off the industry and stuff, you know?
that's a good point right there. And that brings me to my next question is about insurance. I mean, would it help if there was insurance? I mean, you pay your dues every year to the NPC, you pay for the show, you pay for this, you pay for that. It's very expensive to be a
You know,
competitive bodybuilder.
when I first bought when I bought my first NPC card, and I think it was like in it's either in the late 80s or early 90s. I think it was the late 80s. And that's how it was presented initially, is that you're paying for insurance. You know, this is insurance, is what it is. You know,
Oh, okay.
that was initially how it was. I mean, that was my understanding and stuff, you know, to make sure that you were covered and stuff. But then I stopped hearing that narrative as time went on and stuff, you know. But I
Huh.
remember my first NPC card. I think it's in the late 80s, I believe. And that's what I was just told. that, yeah, this is because I can't remember. I think it was like 50 something bucks or something like that. I
Okay.
was like, man, that's, man, it's, oh, well, it's an insurance policy too.
Yeah.
You have to renew it every year and stuff, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, I remember that.
I mean, would that, I don't think even if you, and that would be nice if that was there. Uh, I don't think it'd change anything though. I mean, people are going to do what they're going to do. People, information, for example. I mean, people are taking these drugs and going out and doing the wrong things with them. Like I was talking to you about earlier. I've I've heard so many stories about just your average gym bro taking a bunch of Dianabol and going out and drinking in the bars. Dianabol is horrible on your liver, and so is alcohol. That will kill you. But they don't put forth the effort to look it up and get the information for it. I mean, the information is there, but people don't seem to put forth the effort to look it up. I don't know about you, but anything I'm putting in my body, I want to know everything about it. I mean, and I know you're that way too. Uh, but is bodybuilding worth your health and your life? Hell no, it's not. Hell no, it's not. Do people go
But
that
the,
route?
the
Definitely.
lifestyle, the lifestyle portion of it is supposed to actually enhance your life,
Exactly. That's
enhances
the
your quality of life, and like it enhances your quality, and it does.
yeah.
And there are facts to prove that. But the thing about it is, none of those facts were presented in this article. I
No.
mean, I get it was a hit article to illuminate the, I guess, the dark side of the sport, and I don't know whether he was, or this reporter was trying to, maybe have a call to action or something, or he was just you know sensationalizing it and stuff, and just putting it out there and just seeing what would happen. I don't know what his motive was, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but
But
it definitely put a negative spin on the sport, not even so much the sport, but even the activity in general,
yeah. Yeah.
sport in particular.
But I mean, the moral of the story is yes, it happens. Yes, there's guys out there taking and women taking an ungodly amount of drugs, but most of those ones that are taking the ungodly amount don't even look like me, don't even look like you. They might have a little bit of muscle, they might not. Uh, but the fact is that they just don't have the genetics, and they think more is better, and so they take more, and they will do anything to win, whether it's a plastic trophy or $1,000 check. Those people are going to be that way regardless what you say, what rules you put in check. They're going to be that way anyway.
Oh,
So
and I will say this, and something that you just said, and I have to kind of jump on with that and stuff.
mhm,
I mean, it's the activity, especially the competitive side. It attracts a certain ilk of person. And this is gonna be a really bad analogy and stuff, but it's almost like oh boy, here we go. It's almost like there are certain professions that are havens for certain people.
yeah,
You know, it's like it's like the Catholic Church is a haven for pedophiles.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yep,
okay,
yep,
and so and like bodybuilding, if you got a person that is just really in the extreme, they're over the top. I mean, these hyper A personality types, you know, they're perfectly at home in this sport, especially the
yeah,
sports. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
this is perfect for them. Now,
yeah,
don't get me wrong. We have our, we have, when we're training, we're getting after it and stuff. But somebody that's really like over the top, just a really, just uber a personality. Yeah, this would be a perfect home for them.
yeah, yeah,
Competitive bodybuilding. and
yeah,
you know, and so I can see people abusing certain things, because that may just be their personality.
yeah. And
I mean,
that's what I mean. You
I mean, from a competitive standpoint, I mean, it's almost common knowledge that you're going if you're going to in certain organizations, if you're going to excel, if you're going to exceed, then you're going to have to do it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
The deal is, you know, do you, it's not the foundation of your program. The foundation of your program is the training, and the cardio and the diet, and the consistency with that, and the rest of the stuff, is just to help.
That's what you told me the first time I trained with you. I remember you've told me that several times actually, but the first time I trained with you, it's exactly what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Is you don't rely on this. You rely on the diet and the training. And this is extra. That's all that is. But you rely on the diet and the training first and foremost. And I think if you go in at it at that attitude, I think you're going to be all right. I mean, but is it an epidemic? I don't think it's an epidemic. I think that they pulled out some people there and made it look like an epidemic, but it was one sided, and that's just where we're at.
We're like we're still we've come a long way, since the 60s and the 50s, where we were primarily just freaks at that point. They used to say muscle bound, muscle bound, all these bodybuilder, and we've come a long way, but there's some stigma to being a bodybuilder. You can get it every now and then, I get it sometimes online, people, they'll see a pic of me or something like that, like one of my avatar, and one of my profile pics, and they'll, because I get on these political blogs sometime, and they'll say, "Oh, you're just taking steroids. Just get back to your steroids."
Yeah, exactly. Stupid.
It's like, okay, all right, dude, whatever.
Stupid. Yeah, I know.
So it's you still have a little bit of that, and then those people that are in the sport they're those people that are hyper, they're really over the top, so they're just targets for them.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that is a big thing. Oh, he only looks like that because he does steroids. Have you watched that person train? Have you watched his diet? That's this much of it. Yes, it helps you. All it helps is it helps recovery, but it's everything else that person is doing to get that way, not the steroids.
Yeah, you get a 28, 29-year-old person, a 30-year-old person that tells me something like that. I'm like, how old are you again? You're like 30. I've been training 50. I've been training longer than you've been alive.
What grade are you in?
So it's so we were kind of, I felt the article kind of was doing a little targeting and stuff, but my deal is this, like I said, all this stuff was factual. They just wanted to, you just pulled the curtain back, just so everybody can see it and stuff. But my deal is, my pushback on that is, look, there is a dark side to it, but there's a bright side to it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is why I continue to do, and this is why I'll continue to train and stuff long as I get finished competing. Yes, it's a grind in our deal, but like a lot of other sports are too.
Yeah. Well, Donnie, we got less than a minute left, so we're gonna have to wrap this up. I think we made our point across. So, you guys got anything to say about it? Your point of view? Just throw it in the comments, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Night, Donnie.